Welcome to Exploring the Mystical Side of Life with your host, Linda Lang.
Hi, this is Linda Lang from thoughtchange.com. Today I have Elliot Robertson here with me. Elliot is the author of Say Yes to Life, 7 Keys to Living Full Out from Within. He's also a joy coach. Now, from my experience, happiness is an inside job, and it's also a doorway into your own spirit, something we want to cultivate in our life to improve the quality and also to attract more joy and have a deeper connection with our spirit. So I'm really happy to have Elliot here with me today. Welcome, Elliot.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to share with you and your guests.
Well, some people might look at the idea of happiness or joy as a more three-dimensional thing, not necessarily mystical, but I think you can find a mystical aspect within the joy or the happiness.
In fact, I think that mystics were some of the most happy people to have ever lived on planet Earth. When I think back to Meister Eckhart or to St. Catherine, to people who have placed their relationship with God as a top priority and not made that a hobby, but really taken their relationship with the cosmos very seriously. And I think today we might be on the threshold of everyone claiming their own mystic within them with all the heart resonance work that heart math is doing. And there's a lot of stuff going on in the ascension and into spirituality as a reality.
And a way of life.
Absolutely. But I meditate every morning, and I occasionally I forget. I decide that something else is more important, like a creative project I'm working on. So I run to the cafe and start writing, and I regret it. I really do notice the difference.
So you said something very interesting, that happiness lives within the heart. A lot of people think happiness is just an emotion, a fleeting emotion, and maybe more of a mental thought projection. So I wonder if you could talk a little bit about what the heart has to do with our internal state.
That's a great question. Our heart, I associate with our true self. The mind can unite with the heart, but I feel like the heart is the place where we have our dialogues with the cosmos. It's the part of us that I just feel like is at the center of our being, and it's where love is most prominent. And the work on heart resonance that heart math and others are doing does verify that it's the strongest magnetic field in our entire body, way more so than the brain, and also the strongest electric field. So I think science is going to be catching up with the mystics. I remember when I was 17, I was reading Alan Watts, and I just decided that the mystics had the correct notion of how the cosmos is structured and what truth is. And I decided that eventually the scientists would be catching up with them. And it's happening right now. It's a very exciting moment.
Isn't it lovely and totally amazing that we are living in that time where scientists are starting to confirm some of these ancient mystical concepts of how the world works?
Very exciting. And it's very interesting that this is a transitional moment when the churches are crumbling, when people are not really satisfied with things that don't necessarily nurture happiness. I have a lot of visions for how people will find nurturing ways to affirm who they are and to be in the heart and to connect with the joy that just resides within us.
It would be an honoring of the spirit within the self.
That's a beautiful way to characterize my understanding of worship. I really feel like everything in your life, all of your problems will be taken care of if you honor yourself and if you fall in love with yourself. That's really the most true and best way to reach a place of happiness. It's not by chasing happiness, but just by celebrating who you are, embracing who you are, connecting with your heart, worshiping, if you want to use that word, in a very broad and very loose way.
Again, I go back to saying that I believe, anyways, that happiness is already within us. It's just that most people have disconnected to their awareness that it's even possible for them because they are projecting it outside themselves or on circumstances instead of accessing it within their own being.
Right. Yeah, the invitation is always there from the cosmos for us to accept the happiness that is already within us, the joy that we were born with and that stays with us all our life. And the thing is that sometimes it's kind of like what humans do. You know, I've done it myself. We just go into a dark room and we carry a flashlight with us. And then the flashlight shows just one or two things in the room. There's a lot of flowers and beauty and wonderful things in the room, but we point the flashlight at what's missing from our lives or the promotion we didn't get, or that's where our focus so often goes. So that's one of the ways, by just flipping on the light and just really seeing the glory that's all around us and within us.
I love that, and it's just perfect, actually. So that makes me wonder, Elliot, how you would recommend people turn on the light.
Part of it is a matter of sort of changing what direction you're facing. I was using a flashlight in the previous analogy, but you can also just think of it in terms of pivoting from having your focus on all of the things that you doubt or that you fear or that you're worried about, and just pivoting in a new direction so that you are facing the divinity within you, facing the beauty that is in the world. So part of it is just a matter of getting in the habit, you might say, of just noticing the glory that is in the world. There's also other things that sometimes can be helpful, things that help create inner harmony. When you're celebrating yourself, when you're appreciating yourself, if you really just stir up appreciation and cultivate appreciation and gratitude, um, these are other wonderful keys to stepping into your heart and happiness.
It actually is exactly the same as a message I got from my guides. At one point, they had said that in order to be grateful for something, you have to appreciate it. So that appreciation is actually the very first step. And then the gratitude automatically happens. They go hand in hand. They're married, appreciation and gratitude. I also want to say that's exactly why my business is called Thought Change, because we get so stuck at the way we perceive things that we can't see all the other opportunities and all the beautiful things that we already have in our lives. And when we can switch that on the inside, then our whole perception changes. So I love that you do this work too, Elliot.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like sometimes what I'm really want to do, what my vision is just to help people get out of the quicksand, because it is like being in quicksand. And I mean, especially if the habit is deeply ingrained for 10, 20, 30 years, every day, waking up and thinking of all of the stresses that you might be dealing with that day or whatever. It can be challenging, I think, mostly at the start. After you have momentum behind you, and I mean, I have found now that I just automatically wake up in the morning with a lot of gratitude, not tied to anything specifically or in particular, just gratitude for being who I am, for being here on the planet, and for the life that I'm engaged with, and for relationships with people, whatever it is. It's not so much gratitude for, it's just gratitude to the cosmos. I'm not into gratitude lists anymore. I feel like there is also a gratitude beyond listing the things you're grateful for. So it's just wonderful to be in that spirit. It really makes for an entirely new world.
Back in my working days, I would pop in my car and I would drive east to go to work, and the sun would shine. It was a country road that I drove on, and every day I would spend my drive in that sense of just sheer joy and gratitude, because not about going to work or anything about my life, just it was like that sun was shining on me and infusing me with this light, this joy, this peacefulness. And it was a beautiful way to start my day. And that's an easy way that people can tune into that energy that the earth naturally has for us through sunsets and sunrises, and the beauty of a flower, the endless rhythm of the waves on the ocean. They're all things that are very nurturing for our souls.
Absolutely. Earlier, I was saying about how I have a practice of meditating. Some people find that challenging. So, if you'd like to substitute just stepping into your backyard first thing in the morning, before you get caught up in the distractions, just make it a habit to spend just at least 2 or 3 minutes, either barefoot or maybe in the winter you'll want to have your boots on. But just in the backyard or someplace where you have access to nature, behold the essence of the tree, behold the essence of the grass. I think that's what you were doing when on those drives. You were beholding the essence, the true nature of the sun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you said it only needs to be a couple of minutes, because I think that some people shy away from a practice because they have an assumption that it's going to take a lot of time and be a lot of effort, but it's really effortless and then becomes a joy, and it's something you want to do every day. And from there, it can grow and be longer and longer, or you can incorporate in additional practices to really connect with your own spirit.
I'm so glad we're having a chance to talk about not only meditation, but also looking at the sunset and going into the backyard and being with the trees and the flowers and the grass and noticing their essence. Because I feel like we all have unique soul prints. We all have unique fingerprints, and we also have unique soul prints. And we're all unique in our ways of relating to the spirit, to the great spirit. In fact, when I was 17, I read a book by Alan Watts, his autobiography, and the title was In My Own Way. And that's all I remember is the title. I was so impressed with that title, I decided that we all have a religion, so to speak, or a spirituality that's in our own way. So there are over 7 billion religions on the planet. And so, my religion might be going to church on Sundays, and somebody else's religion might be just being in the backyard, noticing the tree, talking with the tree, maybe, or just being open to feeling a connection with the tree. It's just endless, the uniqueness that we all have. And in my book, Sayest Life, 7 Keys to Living Full Out from Within, uniqueness is one of the 7 keys. And it really is perhaps the most important. It's one of my very favorite ones. Saint Francis was one of the saints from the past who really emphasized uniqueness. He was, wanting everyone to accept their uniqueness, appreciate their uniqueness, be grateful for their uniqueness, and to share their unique gifts. And one of the things I love to do is I love to just imagine that the cosmos is saying to me, I love you. That the cosmos is saying that to each and every one of us in honor of our uniqueness. Just the cosmos is noticing our uniqueness and wanting to love that in addition to our humanity, in addition to our commonality.
That's beautiful. And I think it's true that the cosmos really does love us more than we can even imagine. On an earlier episode, I had shared about a mystical experience I had, and I was taken to this place where there was just so much love for me and for absolutely each person as an individual and as part of the whole, and it would be like a wave of love and another wave, and it was just like more than you can imagine. You are just loved so much more than you know.
That's beautiful. I so appreciate your saying that, Linda. I think that, we never really do, just as you were saying, we never really are able to totally drink in all of the love that the cosmos has for us. I don't think our little brains are really equipped to compute or to take in the amazing vastness of the love that is given to each one of us, that flows through each one of us. And even our big hearts, I don't know. I really, it's something I don't know whether or not my heart will ever be able to have some sort of sense or feeling for what that might be like. But I think the most important thing right now for me, and maybe it's important for some other people too, I don't know. But for me, what is really important is just that I face in the direction of the cosmos' love, and that I just keep being grateful for the spiritual growth that I'm having. That's part of facing in the direction, having an awareness and an appreciation for how I'm growing in my relationship with the cosmos and in my capacity to receive and in my willingness to embrace who I am and my uniqueness. As long as I'm facing that direction and not going in the direction of, oh, life is unfair, and I really want to just say no to God. We go that direction sometimes. It's amazing how easy it is to slip into cursing life, into cursing God, into regretting disliking the cards that have been given to you, and then leaving it at that, and failing to notice that maybe the cards that you've been given will, in the end, be something that takes you to a glorious place.
Mm. There are many, many gifts that your heart gives you. One of them being joy and happiness, that connection that's just there on the inside, not dependent on the outside world. That connection with yourself, a peacefulness that you can access anytime, and certainly also things like, wisdom and insight that come to you. Having better discernment even in your own life, because you can feel that resonance of what lights your heart up and what doesn't. And I think also another gift that it can give us is compassion and how we connect and communicate with other people.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I really think it all starts with the relationship you have with yourself. And once you are able to have compassion for who you are, then the compassion and the connection with other people just naturally overflows. At least in my experience, that seems to be the sequence of things for me. One of the things I'm very interested in doing is helping people let go of the distractions and the false stories, the untruths that people have been telling themselves about who they are. And then when we let go of the I can't, I'm too powerless, I don't have what it takes, I'm not a compassionate person, I'm not able to be loving, whatever, I'm not sophisticated, whatever the stories are, when we let go of those and they fall away, we're just left with the compassion for ourselves, and we're left with the love and the light and the beauty and the glory.
Beautiful. And there's hope for all of us.
Absolutely. This is a journey that everyone can take.
Elliot, thank you for being my guest today. Would you like to share your website?
Thanks for asking. My book's website is www.sayyestolifebook.com.
Okay, perfect. We'll make sure to put all the links in the show notes. Thank you again for being our guest. And thank you for listening to this week's episode of Exploring the Mystical Side of Life. You will find us on YouTube, iTunes, Anchor.fm, Spotify, and also on Podcoin, the platform that gives you points for listening to your favorite podcasts. Come and visit me at thoughtchange.com, pick up your copy of Learning to Listen, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.